In this video, I'd like to talk about the math question of the day for Tuesday, August 1st, 2023. And with this problem, we have a word problem, and I apologize, I will likely mispronounce this, but let's say Noya read a book cover to cover in a single session at a rate of 55 pages per hour. After 4 hours, he had 350 pages left to read. Let y represent the number of pages left to read, and we can say that x is the number of hours. So y is the number of pages left to read after x hours. Complete the equation for the relationship between the number of pages left and number of hours. So with this word problem, we just need an equation to relate this information. And questions like these are typically seen in Algebra 1 classes when studying linear equations, though they can be a little bit challenging. So at this point, go ahead and pause the video, see if you can work through this on your own. And when you're ready, unpause the video and we can go through this together. Now, assuming that you've attempted the problem, we can work through this. And with these types of problems where we're given a lot of information and we need to come up with an equation relating to variables, I find that it helps to start by defining the variables very clearly. We have x and we have y, and we're told x measures the number of hours or time, and its unit is hours. Now y, we're told, represents the number of pages left to read. So this is an important distinction here. It's not the number of pages read, it's the number of pages that are left to read, meaning that we start at a high number and we count down. So the y values will be decreasing. So as a unit, this would just be the number of pages. And again, it's number of pages left to read. Now, after clearly defining our variables, we know that we need to find an equation relating them. And to do that, we need to go back to the information they've given us. And we're told that he can read a book cover to cover in a single session at a rate of 55 pages per hour. And this is going to be a linear relationship because this rate is fixed. This is a constant. We can say rate here, which is the hallmark of a linear equation. Now, remember that linear equations can be written as y is equal to mx plus b. This is our slope-intercept form, where m, the coefficient on x, that's the slope. That is the rate of change. And b is our y-intercept. So if we want, we can use this slope-intercept form to come up with our equation here. We are told the slope, we're told the rate that he is reading the book. We're told that 55 pages are read every hour. So that is our slope. We can write that as m. It's 55, we can say, pages per hour. But we need to be careful because we are counting down the number of pages. We don't know how many we're starting with, but every hour they have 55 pages less to read. So our rate of change is negative. It's counting down the total number of pages that are left to read. So every hour, 55 pages are subtracted from the total left to read. And we also have this other data point here. After 4 hours, he had 350 pages left to read. This is a coordinate point. The x value is 4 and the y value is 350. We have that at 4 hours, since x is hours, the number of pages left to read, y, would be 350. So with this information, we have a data point and we have the slope. And we can use our slope-intercept, or you could use point-slope form if you want. Since you have a point and the slope, it doesn't really matter. But let's just use this slope-intercept form. We know x is 4, y is 350, and m is negative 55, which means that we can plug in these 3 data points and solve for b here. Now, actually doing that, we know y is 350. We know m is minus 55. We know x is 4, and we are trying to find this y-intercept b. And if we simplify this, minus 55 times 4, that is negative 220. And if we add 220 to each side, we get 570 is equal to b. And from here, we can construct our final equation. We would have y is m, which is negative 55 multiplied by x plus 570. And this right here is what we think is our equation. Now, this number we got for our y-intercept, this should make sense. This is when x is equal to 0. If we plug in 0 here, the number of pages left to read is 570. And we know every hour that he reads 55 pages, and after 4 hours, he's at 350. So if we plug in an x value of 4, this would be minus 220, and when you add that to 570, you get 350. Or you could think that every hour, starting at 570, we are subtracting 55 pages, and if you do that 4 times, that gets you to 350. So the equation that we found makes sense relative to the data that we were actually given.